Wow, the WWE did something that I did not expect here for Survivor Series 2025 War Games. Hello, everybody. My name is Sancho West, and welcome to Sancho West Wrestling. This is my review for Survivor Series 2025 in San Diego. Let's go ahead and start off right out the gate. War Games in itself, I always have a problem with the gimmick. I've mentioned this before in the Bright Predictions video and countless times if you ever watch my lives and things of that sort, that I just don't like War Games as a gimmick match as itself. The kind of storylines didn't lead to these kind of versions of War Games. It's like a Hell in a Cell just for having a Hell in a Cell just because we have it annually. And I was a really big fan of the 5v5 elimination that we had in the go home on SmackDown between Team MFTs and Team Sami Zayn. I think you got a lot greater storylines clearly told in that. A lot of good feuds kind of bound off that match in that go home on SmackDown. And I really did wish that match was at Survivor Series. And I wish that the main event and the things like that with the ladies, instead of having the War Games cage match, it was the traditional 5v5. Also picking back on the point that the 4 matches on a PLE card, dude, this roster is too stacked, and at the same time, it puts a lot of pressure on the performers. They have to carry 25% of the match, and I'm looking at Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella. Dude, that is just unfair to do that to them, and at the same time, we need more matches, dude. I would love to have 6 to 7 matches on this card. You have so much talent, so much missing mid-card titles that could have been here, the tag team titles. I know the Kabuki Warriors were in this match, but so many titles that could have been represented here, and hell, even NXT could have been here as well. The WWE, you got to pad out your PLEs simply because the biggest thing, like I mentioned, is that 25% is hard to carry for Stephanie Vaquer, Nikki Bella, with no stipulations, no gimmick, in a match surrounded, sandwich, dare I say, by those gimmick matches of War Games. But let's go ahead and kick off the review for the Women's War Games of AJ Lee, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch, Lash Legend, Nia Jax, the Kabuki Warriors of Asuka and Kairi Sane. And this match went for 41 minutes, and I absolutely love this. This is a better improvement from previous Women's War Games. You remember last year how they kind of got a little bit sluggish by getting furniture in there, and the spots were weird, and there was a lot of planning around the ring. I think the WWE did a great job at pivoting from the shark cages, getting them out of those shark cages, because traditionally you get like 10 entrances, and then you get the start of the War Games. But I like the way they did this, where surprise entrance coming in. It felt like a Royal Rumble. It added suspense, and it kind of made those storylines a little bit clearer. You weren't distracted that what was happening in the shark cage. They didn't have to jump into a camera inside of it. It was all focused in the ring. We started off with a great kind of rematch between Asuka and Charlotte Flair. I like the moments that you had with Becky Lynch and Charlotte with the 4 Horsemen. I really did miss Bayley in this kind of situation. It kind of feels weird that Bayley is the odd woman out. It's continuously not mentioned as much in the 4 Horsemen, of course, alongside with Sasha Banks. But overall, I think someone that stole the show was Kairi Sane, working very Japanese style, strong style, very stiff in moments, great insane elbow. The moment, my favorite spot that wasn't involved jumping off the cage from Io Sky in the Swanton Bomb with Mr. Trashcan was the bullet train, using that with the trash can lid. Some very cool spots on that. But like I mentioned, Kairi Sane did a great job working her moments, coming out with that green chain. That was really cool. But you could really tell that Rhea Ripley felt like she was on a whole other level. When she came out with the Art the Clown mask, I was immediately locked in, and I thought at this moment that she's transcending levels, and she keeps furthering herself as a superstar, not only in the WWE but in pop culture. And I love that she embraces that Art the Clown style, and she does the little mannerisms, and it just adds something to her character that we didn't know that was inside of Rhea Ripley. The match itself, like I mentioned, really strongly paced. My only criticism of this is that I wish Nia Jax didn't go where she would, and I think she should have went last versus Last Legend. Last Legend being the final entrant into the War Games kind of didn't give that pop that you were expecting. I know they built up Last Legend very well by having all the faces attack her because she was coming in when the heels were at a disadvantage, but it didn't have that pizzazz. And I thought if she kind of came in where Nia came in, I think Last Legend could have accomplished the same thing. You had a nice stare down between Last Legend and Rhea Ripley. I like that setting up, but When AJ Lee comes in, I think that was a big surprise. Everyone was wondering what was going to happen with AJ Lee in this match, considering she never been in the War Games, and considering her style is not as modern as it is into these days. And hey, she did a great job, and she sold really well, bumped really well, made everybody look bigger than life. And at the same time, I love Becky and AJ Lee continuing that storyline. They did a great job of building that feud. I was only wishing that Becky Lynch had the IC title to add a little bit more stakes, a little bit more sauce to the feud of AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. But overall, it's a really strong match. It did go into a repeat of Solo Sikoa in terms of getting attacked by all the faces of Becky Lynch, being attacked and almost eating all the finishers. She does eat a riptide, going into the Widow submission hold from good old AJ Lee, and she taps out to AJ Lee. So we get a progression of that storyline. We've got a lot of tag team wrestling as well, progressing out of all those things. And a lot of people were expecting a heel turn from Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, but I'm glad that didn't happen. And of course, like I mentioned, Io Sky with the highlight moment of the Swanton Bomb, Mr. Trash Can jumping it off. Tremendous athleticism, really, really cool, amazing War Games match, really, really solid. And I think a better War Games pace match than the men's. And the second match, we had Dominik Mysterio with Raquel Rodriguez and Roxy Perez coming out with versus John Cena, the Intercontinental Champion, for that title in San Diego in Dominik Mysterio's backyard. 16-minute match. It was filled with Judgment Day shenanigans. It's going to Judgment Day rules, where you had literally everybody from Judgment Day, J.D. McDonough and Finn Balor helping him out alongside Raquel Rodriguez and Roxy Perez. Speaking of the ladies, what a great moment for them to be in this match, to be in John Cena's last PLE. I thought it was tremendous, kind of tip of the hat to them for them doing their great service throughout the entire year. They are my MVPs. They are my most improved as well. I just absolutely love when Raquel Rodriguez and Roxy Perez on my television screen, and they did a great job here on the PLE, being the foil to John Cena here in multiple spots. The only criticism that I have about this match, that it kind of took a step back on it, was the moment when the referee kind of, if you didn't watch it, there was a moment where they kind of repeated the spot where Penta got hurt against, who did he get hurt against? Solo Sikoa, when he jumped off the barrier going for Hurricanrana and he kind of splats onto the outside. They repeat that spot again with Dominik Mysterio and John Cena, and you really do believe, you get worked really, really hard, that you think Dominik Mysterio is hurt again, but instead it just sets up Raquel Rodriguez to hit a crazy Tejana bomb on John Cena. I am shocked that she was able to get someone up of John Cena's size that easily. And then a pop rocks from Roxy, and then Dom goes into 619, hits the frog splash, and then the referee doesn't count to 1, 2, 3. And it feels like an offensive pass interference. You know what I mean? It's a moment where all the action stops. You're like, why? This has never been done before. And the referee takes a stand. He throws out Roxy and Raquel. And so you think Dom's by himself. Dom literally kicks out of an AA, which was crazy, and he survives an STF, so that still makes Dom looking strong. Out comes Judgment Day of Finn Balor and JD, and then you get Super Cena. And yes, awesome. Super Cena's here to play, and I absolutely love the moment where you got the double AA. Very, very cool. And then it gets to more shenanigans, brother. Then the shenanigans are amazing because Liv Morgan returns, and this is a huge surprise. Everybody was expecting Liv Morgan to return at the Royal Rumble, but Liv Morgan is here and helps out what we thinking is going to help out Dirty Dom, but she looks at Dirty Dom and slugs Dirty Dom right in the face, because you're all thinking of all the flirting with Roxy and things of that sort, and the precarious situations that Dominik Mysterio seems to find himself in. And then all of a sudden Liv Morgan jumps into John Cena's arms, and they have a moment, and then the camera does a repeat of John Cena's heel turn against Cody Rhodes, where you see a happy face and then turn into a serious face from Liv Morgan, and then Liv Morgan low blows John Cena. And then you get a moment where you get the 619 and then into the belt hit and then the frog splash, and Dominik Mysterio wins 1, 2, 3. I think this is a great call. I think this is the perfect call. A lot of people were wondering if John Cena is going to go out on his back. I think this gives the opportunity for John Cena to go out on his back with winning his last match. I think the WWE wants him to win his last match, but this was still him putting somebody over near the end in his last PLE, and I think that screams major vibes for Dominik Mysterio fans and Dominik Mysterio himself with the company going forward. He instantly now gets the heat for cheating against John Cena in his last PLE. and at the same time gets Liv Morgan back. Liv Morgan is an underrated, sorely missed type of vibe for the women's division, and I'm excited to see who she goes after. I think she's going to be the perfect villain for Stephanie Vaquer, and I want her to get the belt back. I mean, she just has this magnetism vibe about her, and she fits Dominik Mysterio. Like, all of a sudden, you just get so jealous of Dominik Mysterio. How can he keep getting away with it? But like I mentioned, match was 16 minutes. It was a little bit overcooked for the short amount of match, and considering on all the shenanigans that played out, especially with that referee flag moment, but it was still solid. I mentioned this in the opening about Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella for the Women's World Championship. This was a 12-minute match. This match didn't have any seasoning on it. It was a good match. You could find it on Monday Night Raw, main event type of thing. It's just like, I feel like the build wasn't quite there for it, and there wasn't any kind of animosity, or there wasn't any kind of fear that Stephanie Vaquer was going to lose here. It felt like Stephanie Vaquer was in total control, even though there was moments that Nikki Bella had some holds against her. There was a counters that Nikki Bella did. There was a moment where Nikki Bella hit the rack attack, but she was too close to the ropes, and then you had the rope break from Stephanie Vaquer, and then Stephanie Vaquer hits the devil's kiss on the announcer table, and then she hits it again in the center of the ring, and then she hits her corkscrew, splash, or her spiral tap. And that's for me where I think if they would have mixing things up a bit, you would have had a solid finish, and you would have felt that Stephanie Vaquer was in danger of losing to Nikki Bella. I just didn't feel anything like that. If, for example, Stephanie Vaquer missed her top rope spiral tap move, and then the torture rack 2.0 or the rack attack 2.0 from Nikki Bella hit, and then the rope break, you go, oh my God, that was really close for Stephanie Vaquer, but we didn't get any of that. Stephanie Vaquer retains, but like I mentioned, sandwich between Dominik Mysterio and John Cena in the men's War Games, tough spot. And it really felt like, and I may be overreading this, but Nikki Bella just it feels like Nikki Bella has been in these spots before, literally going out before the main event for the men in a really tough War Games, but then before that to go against John Cena's last PLE, really tough for the ladies. The crowd was already dead, and they had to re-bring him back. They did get him back at the end, especially with the Devil's Kiss spots, but hey, tough match, and this is where they should have more matches to help out this situation right here. And your fourth and final match, it's the men's War Games match between the Vision of Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, Brock Lesnar, with Paul Heyman versus CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Usos of Jimmy and Jay, and Roman Reigns. Now, this is the match that I have my eye on because AEW's Blood and Guts happened, and that was just a crazy, violent car wreck type of vibe. And all of a sudden, you had people getting thrown into fire tables, and you had spots on the roof, on the ceiling, all these kind of crazy things. And WWE wasn't going to do that. WWE instead relies on the star power, and they use the intensity of the building up of the hype of the aura to set up the table. I did like that CM Punk and Braun Breaker started off. I think this was a great thumbs up for Braun Breaker to start off against CM Punk. He looked very strong. He looked ferocious. He was tossing around CM Punk a la like a young Brock Lesnar. And I'm thinking my criticism alongside with my partner Santi when it comes to Wrestling School Podcast, we're saying that, dude, Braun Breaker needs to be the guy that leads the charge here. Braun Breaker should be the one to be the big bad after taking out Seth Rollins. We didn't get all that going into War Games, but we got that here at War Games, and I felt that was very, very important. Now, there was a moment where Cody Rhodes comes in, and there was a doomsday device shared between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes on Braun Breaker, and my God, Braun Breaker lands right on his neck, and it was a very scary moment. He does get checked out by the doctors, but the entire match, I was worried for Braun Breaker because it was a nasty spill, and he still carries out everything that he had to do in his duties, but there was moments where he was holding his neck. But kudos for Braun Breaker for finishing that match, and I was just shocked that he was able to. It kind of reminded me of Brock Lesnar on the Shooting Star Press, where he landed right on his neck, but wild shenanigans there that happened. But the match progresses, and I like the flow of it. I like where the heels get on top and then the faces come out with a new fresh guy. It felt like I mentioned, when the Royal Rumble, the surprise entrant, everybody counting down, the new entrant would have like a hot tag type of moment, like the momentum sped up. They weren't spending time getting furniture or anything like that. They got in the ring quickly. They did their moves, Uso in the win from Jimmy, all those kinds of crazy stuff, and they kept the momentum going. I like the party vibes that you had from Jey Uso coming out, and then he did the whole thing to rewind the whole startup again. And then everybody's partying, having a great time. And all of a sudden, but before I get to that, I like what CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, they were able to revisit that feud. I love Bronson Reed coming out and tsunamiing everybody 3 times. That was really, really cool. And he had a little jump to his tsunami, so Bronson Reed looked like $1 million for the moment when he jumped into the ring. But like I mentioned, the party's going, everybody's eating in San Diego. They're doing it all over again. You got Jey Uso on top of the cage, and Brock Lesnar's music hit. And of course, Brock Lesnar is the final advantage for the heels. And Brock Lesnar just obliterates everybody. Like, this man has no remorse in the way he just throws everybody around. Jey Uso hits his head on the back of a table. CM Punk lands on his head. It was kind of gnarly. All the suplexes that Brock Lesnar was dishing out. He starts dishing out F5s. My man is like 1A, 1A, 1A all over the place. And Brock Lesnar looks unstoppable. And this is where I like the idea of they didn't waste the pops here at the beginning. There's no like Roman Reigns waiting in the cage type of vibe, right? You get the music hitting, Roman comes out, pyro goes out, the aura, you get the vibe, like here we go. It's Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. It still has that pomp and circumstance and that celebration that we're about to see something awesome. And I love the production that the WWE do a good job. Brock Lesnar steps out of the War Games cage and he's not forfeiting the match simply because the bell hasn't rung yet. They brawl on the outside. Roman Reigns has saved up a bunch of signatures. Boom, boom, Superman punch, bam, Brock Lesnar grabs him, F5s him on the table, in the Spanish announce table. That thing explodes. And oh my God, Brock Lesnar's a beast. And this is another thing that I've enjoyed about this year's War Games, both the women's and men's, is once we get into the bing, bing, the bell rings, the ending, we're going home, right? There's no more another 30 minutes or another 20 minutes or 15 minutes. It's 8-7 minutes to get us right into that moment. And I really did enjoy that. So yeah, Brock Lesnar finally gets taken down by CM Punk with a GTS and Cody Rhodes with a crispy crossroads. Logan Paul starts taking it over because he has some brass knucks and he's taking out people. And then Roman Reigns delivers one of the best spears I've ever seen Roman Reigns delivers and folds Logan Paul in half. And then he gets the hands of the Superman knucks and he's knucking everybody around, dude. And it looks really cool. There's a moment where Brock Lesnar got Jey Uso and then Roman spears him through the table and takes out Brock Lesnar. And you're like, okay, dude, this is it. Drew McIntyre then low blows Cody Rhodes twice and Braun Breaker starts to take over. A lot of spears going back and forth. And you're like, all right, what's going to happen now? And as you can tell by the way I'm reviewing this, I'm going at 100 miles an hour and the in-ring action is going at 100 miles an hour. Logan Paul saves the day. Logan Paul gets GTS. He stops Braun Breaker from getting GTS. Logan Paul gets GTS. Braun Breaker breaks the pin. But then we hit a wall. And this is where you're going to like it or you hate it. We are going on this roller coaster ride and it's flying. And all of a sudden, on a roller coaster where it hits the brakes, you go, you know what I mean? So he hits the brakes and all of a sudden a mystery man comes in dressed in all black and you can't even see anything, ski mask, hoodie. And super kicks, or there's a moment where are you going to get Braun Breaker or are you going to get CM Punk? Super kicks CM Punk and then curb stomps. And everybody's wondering, is that Seth Rollins? It can't be. He has an injured shoulder. And why go through all the mystery if it is CM Punk? Seth Rollins. And why set it up? Clearly they want us to think it's Seth Rollins because of the curb stomp. But this person did not look like Seth Rollins. Didn't move like Seth Rollins. The super kick was kind of wonky. It was a little stiff. They were able to climb out of the cage, so now everyone's trying to figure out who this mystery person is. It could be Austin Theory, it could be Mello, it could be Trick, it could be Randy Orton. They're too small to be Randy Orton. It could be Jericho, it could be Edge. There's still so many theories already swirling. Who's this mystery person? It was alluded to by commentary that Paul Heyman always has a plan for the vision, so eventually have ties with Paul Heyman, but who knows who this mystery person is. In my mind, in the back of my mind, I had thought of AEW when AEW had the program with the devil of, they had Adam Cole and JF, and you were trying to figure out who's the devil. And they had multiple people become the devil with the devil's mask and things of that sort. And then eventually it was revealed as Adam Cole, even though he didn't match the body type of all the different instances of the devil. Maybe they're doing that again. Maybe they're trying to find a surrogate, so just to have Seth Rollins be present in the story because he did the curb stop. But there's just so many questions about the entire thing, and that's where the match comes at a hard stop. Braun Breaker takes advantage, does a spear on CM Punk, and he pins CM Punk for the win. And like I mentioned, huge for Braun Breaker. Amazing. That's what you want. You want to rebuild Braun Breaker. You get Braun Breaker, get the pin. I'm hoping that his injury doesn't take him out for a while because, like I mentioned, him landing gnarly, dude. Landed on his neck. I didn't mention there was a moment where he told Cody Rhodes there's a Steiner's always be better than a Rhodes, and I love that moment. And I would love Braun Breaker to go for the undisputed title because you could kind of feel that animosity kind of growing between the Rhodes and Steiner family. I love that. But that's basically War Games. There's nothing else that happens. The pyro goes off, the copyright, the credits. No one comes out. Roman does tell, he fist bumps his Zebro himself, CM Punk. and he tells Cody, I will never be on the same team with you again. And Cody's like, I hear that. And that's the end. And I overall, like I mentioned, I had a good time. I think more matches would have been great. And at the same time, the more matches would have been better for the talent that appeared on the card. And I feel bad for Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella. I mean, if they had a gimmick like a ladder match, I think they could have probably, been close to the same level of the matches, but it's just clearly not the best match on this card, because look at all the other matches. I mean, there's no way. I mean, maybe Ilya Dragunov in an open challenge could have had a close to the level of the Dom and John Cena's and John Cena's last PLE. But we move on. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Leave a comment what you thought about Survivor Series and tell your friends about the channel. I bid you adieu. Good night. Peace out.